make all kinds of horrible theories up in my head, conspiracy theories and everything else, but it just seemed a little convenient that there was no water, and and that the wind conditions were right, and that there are people ready and willing and able to start fires. And are they commissioned to do so, or are they just acting on their own volition? I don't know. But they seem pretty well equipped, some of these people that they're catching.
A lot of questions. A lot of questions, Mel. Mel, a message tonight.
Yeah, you know, I'll sift through the remains of my place and see if I can find any clues for you.
I've been trying to get Gavin Newsom to allow water to come. You'd have tremendous water up there. They send it out to the Pacific because they're trying to protect a tiny little fish.
You know, people are literally fleeing. People have lost their lives. Kids lost their schools. Families completely torn asunder. Churches burned down. This guy wanted to politicize it. I have a lot of thoughts, and I know what I want to say. I won't.
Mel Gibson has fired off another scorching attack at Gavin Newsom in their ongoing explosive feud, and this one lands with shocking force. Their clash has grown into a full-blown public battle ever since last year's destructive Pacific Ridge wildfires, and it's only getting more heated with every passing week. Libson, whose Pacific Palisades home was reduced to ash and twisted metal, is now urging the people of California to replace Newton with someone who actually understands leadership and responsibility. His fierce statements have erupted across social media, triggering some of the wildest and most dramatic reactions Newton has shown so far. Every fiery rant, every trembling response, every desperate clip is right here waiting. And the tension is rising so fast, it feels like the entire state is about to explode.
Mel, any message from you to Governor Newsom or Karen Bass tonight?
Spend less on hair gel.
Short, sharp, and brutally direct. California's governor seems more attached to his perfectly polished hair than to the people he's sworn to protect. And this pushes Mel Gibson to the edge. Newton's obsession with his appearance is so extreme that you can hardly find a single photo where that glossy, slicked-back style isn't shining like a showroom display. Meanwhile, the state beneath him is collapsing. Taxes climbing higher every year, endless regulations choking small businesses, street protests erupting into chaos, homelessness skyrocketing, and entire neighborhoods drowning in frustration and decay. And what does Newton do? Absolutely nothing meaningful. Instead, he stays busy admiring himself in every reflective surface while Californians struggle and suffer right outside his window.
California Governor Gavin Newsom is now calling his city's homeless encampments unacceptable, which is odd since he's the guy who, made them acceptable, turning sidewalks into red carpet events for drug addicts, thieves, and unemployed CNN anchors.
If you're enjoying this takedown, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Mel Gibson and commentator Greg Gutfeld didn't hold back for even a second. They tore straight into Gavin Newsom for dragging California into darkness with his reckless, self-promoting, woke decisions. They accused him of not only ignoring homelessness, but actually encouraging it as if it was some bizarre political project. Instead of clearing encampments or offering genuine long-term help, Newton pushed to build even more tents in the middle of overwhelmed communities, turning peaceful neighborhoods into scenes of pure ruin. The consequences were disastrous. Streets overflowing with garbage, abandoned belongings, broken needles, and hopelessness, transforming once beautiful towns into bleak open-air slums. Under Newton's watch, the state's shine faded into dust. Even weeks ago, President Trask couldn't resist calling out Newton's collapsing leadership.
I've been trying to get Gavin Newsom to allow water to come. You'd have tremendous water up there. They send it out to the Pacific because they're trying to protect a tiny little fish.
You know, people are literally fleeing. People have lost their lives. Kids lost their schools. Families completely torn asunder. Churches burned down. This guy wanted to politicize it. I have a lot of thoughts and I know what I want to say. I won't.
How is anyone calling President Trask's statement political? It wasn't some partisan jab. It was a blunt and undeniable truth. Gavin Newsom is officially on record approving the demolition of a dam that could have held back or even stopped the catastrophic Pacific Palisades blaze. And for what purpose? To protect a single endangered fish species and earn praise from a few local activist groups. That isn't leadership. That's reckless decision-making dressed up as pretend environmental heroism. That dam could have preserved vital water supplies firefighters desperately needed, potentially saving homes, animals, and countless lives. Instead, Newton went chasing applause and flattering headlines, prioritizing image over action, optics over safety. And now, Californians are left suffering the painful consequences of choices that never should have been made.
I can make all kinds of horrible theories up in my head, conspiracy theories and everything else, but it just seemed a little convenient that there was no water, and and that the wind conditions were right, and that there are people ready and willing and able to start fires. And are they commissioned to do so, or are they just acting on their own volition? I don't know. But they seem pretty well equipped, some of these people that they're catching.
A lot of questions. A lot of questions, Mel. Mel, a message tonight.
Yeah, you know, I'll sift through the remains of my place and see if I can find any clues for you.
This is where the drama erupts into something even darker. Investigators discovered that several Pacific Palisades fires may have been started by local teens and possibly a few transient campers. But what truly shocked everyone was what officers found during the arrests. Among the seized items were fire accelerants, protective wraps, and crude ignition tools that no ordinary camper or adventurous teenager would be carrying. The evidence looked unsettlingly deliberate, almost as if someone had coached or even paid them to spark the flames. That's when Mel Gibson's suspicions exploded. He refuses to give Gavin Newsom the benefit of the doubt, believing this disaster might be another calculated performance, a crisis crafted for control, manipulation, and a grab at federal funding. To Libson, it feels like a repeated pattern where destruction becomes a convenient weapon for political power.
Welcome to a new segment called Gavin's Hands. He keeps his hands in motion and his hair full of lotion. True, Gavin's views may be idiotic, but his hands moves, well, they're hypnotic. California Governor Newsom's new podcast is out. It's available wherever fine hair care products are sold.
The saddest twist in this entire saga is Gavin Newsom's newest vanity project, launching his own podcast, and it's exactly as self-important as it sounds. He claims it's meant for meaningful conversations with people he disagrees with or supposedly respects, but everyone can see the truth hiding beneath the surface. It's not about conversation. It's a carefully staged publicity tool designed to polish his image, test reactions, and quietly set the stage for a future presidential run. Every guest will be pre-selected, every question softened, every moment shaped to protect his narrative. This isn't a show for connection. It's a coronation rehearsal. Every frame, every word, every calculated pause screams ambition. And Mel Gibson sees straight through it, a show dressed up as sincerity.
Ponders why Dems lost.
We lost the popular vote and we lost the electoral vote. We got crushed. And we need to be humble about that, and we need to have some grace, and we need to understand why. Was it because of the incumbency penalty? Was it because of inflation? Was it because of interest rates? Was it because of immigration? Was it because we were too, quote unquote, woke?
Kennedy, I think the answer is yes. Was
it because of Israel? Yes. Interest rates? Yes. Too woke?
Once again, Gavin Newsom has thrown himself into another loud meltdown over the 2024 elections. And it reveals far more than he intended. The truth is simple. No one in his political circle truly believed President Trask could rise again. For years, they portrayed him as a finished force, a political villain beyond repair. But while they mocked him, Trask rebuilt his influence, sharpened his message, and turned every mistake made by the current administration into fuel. Instead of offering real fixes, Newton's group focused on insults and flashy media campaigns. And when the votes came in, Trask shocked them all. Newton's outrage isn't just frustration, it's fear. Their well-controlled narrative is cracking, and Trask's return has thrown their entire strategy into chaos.
So the issues of audits, I mean, I was commenting when I was with President Trump, we talked about the high-speed rail, and there was some discussion, before the public presentation on high-speed rail last week around audits. I think we've been audited 100 times there. Happy to see another audit. At a certain point, you have audit fatigue. I think at the end of the day, people want outcomes and they want results for their money spent. Audits for audit's sake service no one, just services headlines. What people want is problems solved, and they want to see it. They want to believe it. They don't want to hear it, and they don't want to hear excuses and rhetoric.
This was the moment President Trask finally snapped and launched a full audit into California's high-speed rail project. And it couldn't have come sooner. For years, this visionary project has swallowed hundreds of millions in taxpayer money, yet all residents see are empty tracks, scattered equipment, and endless excuses. The budget keeps ballooning, the deadlines keep drifting, and no one takes responsibility for the mess. When Trask announced the audit, Gavin Newsom instantly tried to dismiss it, bragging that the project had already been reviewed countless times. But everyone knows those reviews were political performances designed to declare everything perfect. This time, Newton panicked because a real audit could uncover the truth: mismanagement, incompetence, and possibly deep corruption buried inside California's most bloated public project. The pressure closed in fast, and he knew it.
In 2019, I think Newsom said, I'm going to take care of the forests and maintain the forests and do all that kind of stuff. He didn't do anything.
Didn't do anything. And then on top of that, they cut the water off.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's all funny. And then I think all our tax dollars probably went for Gavin's hair gel. I don't know, but it's like, it's sad. It's like the place is just on fire.
Well, the whole state is just so poorly managed.
Joe Rogan, once proud to call California home, stormed into the debate. And he didn't hold back for a moment. He openly mourned how the Golden State, once alive with creativity, opportunity, and innovation, had spiraled downward under Gavin Newsom's guidance. Rogson said the state had become nearly impossible to live in. He pointed to soaring costs, rigid regulations, and a suffocating culture of censorship as the main forces pushing him away. A place once filled with dreamers was now buried under fear and frustration. Rogson, who once thrived in Los Angeles, now uses his platform to expose how far the state has fallen. He didn't leave simply for tax reasons. He left because the atmosphere crushed creativity, smothered freedom, and felt hollow beyond recognition. And thousands more have followed, voting with their feet and abandoning what California has become.
Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass have already proven their incompetence and poor leadership during the Los Angeles wildfires. Now, as we experience rampant lawlessness and civil unrest, it's never been more clear they're unable to respond effectively and responsibly during calamity. Whether it's sheer incompetence or outright malevolence, the reality is stark. California's in a state of turmoil, and I ask my fellow Angelenos, why are Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass still in office?
Gavin Newsom and Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass have officially lost the trust of their people. It's obvious they've run out of meaningful solutions for California. Under their watch, the state has sunk deeper into crisis, homelessness rising everywhere, crime increasing, inflation squeezing families, and government offices buried in unnecessary procedures. Once thriving cities now resemble broken zones, with tents lining sidewalks, businesses closing their doors, and families leaving in disappointment. Their so-called progressive victories have delivered little more than empty headlines and hollow speeches. Meanwhile, Mel Gibson, a lifelong Californian, has reached his breaking point, and thousands feel the same. A growing crowd of furious residents are demanding responsibility and action, tired of being ignored while politicians chase cameras. Californians aren't just annoyed anymore, they're fed up. And that anger is turning into a movement, pushing for genuine leadership.
Now, I understand you offered Gavin Newsom help in handling his unrest. I understand that didn't go over too well.
Yeah, they accused us of trying to, quote, escalate. But I can tell you what escalates the situation is being a sanctuary state. What escalates the situation is tolerating the looting and the rioting and the burning of these vehicles and attacks on law enforcement. And we do it just the opposite in Florida. When the 2020 riots were happening in Minneapolis, California, all these other places, we didn't let that happen in Florida. But we also recognize, like, this is what the left does. So we did landmark anti-rioting legislation.
This is what real leadership looks like. Governor Ron DeSantis has presented a bold, unapologetic plan that stands in sharp contrast to Gavin Newsom's shaky rule. DeSantis enforced strong anti-riot laws, showing that disorder would never be tolerated on his watch. He acted quickly, sending officers where they were needed, stopping chaos before it could spread. Florida stayed calm because its leaders responded with clarity and conviction. Back in California, Newton hesitated, softened penalties, and tried to please every political crowd instead of protecting citizens. The difference couldn't be clearer. Florida remained steady, while California fell into confusion. DeSantis's approach isn't about political sides. It's about real results, discipline, and public safety. If Newton genuinely wanted to protect his people, he'd drop the theatrics and follow strategies that actually restore order and rebuild trust.